Good morning and welcome to Missoula Real Estate Today. This is Denny Bedard. Missoula Real Estate Today is presented by Diane Beck of Windermere Real Estate. Diane's been working with buyers and sellers in the Missoula market for over 25 years and shares her insights on the local housing market. Along with her trusted partners, Diane provides complete service for your real estate transaction and brings us guests who provide useful information on industry-related topics and trends. And now, Missoula Real Estate Today on News Talk, KGVO. Good morning. Thank you very much for being here today. We always appreciate you being a part of Missoula Real Estate Today, presented by Diane Beck of Windermere Real Estate, who brings us interesting guests, and no exception this week, a veteran of Missoula Real Estate Today. Laci says she's been on the show a time or two. Laci Rathbun, who is owner, along with her husband, of Donation Warehouse here in Missoula. Welcome back to Missoula Real Estate Today.
Thank you for having me again.
You betcha. What is Donation Warehouse, and how did that all originate?
Well, we are a used furniture and appliance store, and we accept donations on behalf of a local nonprofit, the Parenting Place, and we resell those items as a fundraiser for them. So probably 9 years ago, my dad was part of a garage sale where they did a similar type fundraiser for the Parenting Place each year through the Missoula Exchange Club. And every year they had a ton of stuff left over. And so he would take the time to take it home, clean it up, and then he would resell it on Craigslist and donate the money to the Parenting Place. So we pretty quickly realized that there was a huge need for a place to donate these bigger items like sofas and refrigerators. And then there was a huge need for people to be able to purchase them affordably. And a few months later, Donation Warehouse was born.
Wow, you're kind of second generation Donation Warehouse in a way.
Kind of, yeah.
What inspired you? You mentioned your dad and Missoula Exchange Club, and what inspired them to get so closely connected with the Parenting Place? Some of the answers obvious, I know, because of what they do, but must have been some near and dear to the heart project that got them that motivated.
Yeah, my dad grew up in a really abusive household, and so child abuse prevention was always something that was very near and dear to his heart. And then it was something that he passed on to me, too, as I was growing up, that it was really important to make sure that other children had happy, safe, and healthy homes. And so we were really excited to fund an organization that does nothing but work with kids and families in ways that the Parenting Place does.
Was your dad able to talk about that while you were growing up? Was that something he tried to keep inside, or was it something he was pretty open and honest with you about?
He's always been very open and honest. He actually wrote a book, which is available for purchase at our store. It was a self-published.
Nice plug. Yeah, I like that cross promo, Laci. Good. I'm sorry.
But yeah, it was a self-published book, and there was never any intention to make money or become a millionaire with it. Yeah. It was more so therapeutic for him to write his story about his experience of being abused, and then how that became cyclical for him, and how he then became abusive and not healthy in his future relationships, and kind of what helped him break that cycle.
Our guest is Laci Rathbun, owner of Donation Warehouse here in Missoula on Missoula Real Estate Today, presented by Diane Beck. Laci, what's the store like? Give us a radio roadmap of what we can expect to find when we walk in.
Sure. Well, we have almost 9,000 square feet now. And it is usually filled to the brim with everything from couches and dressers and dining tables to stoves, microwaves, washers and dryers, bed frames, you name it. If it's something we think we can sell, we pretty much will take it. We do stick to those bigger furniture and appliance items. I think there's so many great thrift stores in Missoula, and most of them don't want those huge items. So we're happy to take those, and we have the space to do it. So we've got it pretty well filled with all those things.
So inventory must turn over an awful lot because you rely on donated items. But typically, what can you count on to have on the floor at any given time as far as the inventory is concerned?
We typically always have, the things like couches and dressers and dining tables stocked. The types of things change literally by the hour. Because we offer free pickup, we have a delivery truck that goes to 8 to 10 houses a day. And so every couple of hours, they're bringing us stuff back, and customers are also dropping things off at the store. And so it never fails. People always ask if I have something specific, and if they leave and come back the next day, it will inevitably be there. It's amazing how fast it turns over.
Yeah. So you do have a pickup service, big old delivery truck, right, or pickup and delivery truck.
We do.
If somebody contacts you and says they want to donate, I don't know, they want to donate a sofa, a dryer, dinette set, etc. Let's assume their heart is in the right place, right? But someone with Donation Warehouse has to evaluate whether it's merchandise you can actually sell. So, what is the tactful process there?
All of our staff tries to be extremely friendly. And we really appreciate people thinking of us first when they're wanting to donate these items. However, we do have some limitations. If the item has come from a smoking home, for example, it may be in great shape. The fabric may be perfect on it. It may still be very usable. Unfortunately, it's just not something that we can sell in the store. So we always recommend people just try to give that stuff away, post it on Craigslist for free, any of those things. We even try to help people at least move the item outside or down into their garage. We try to be as helpful as possible.
Gosh, that's great.
Even if we can't take it.
Yeah. Is there a bit of a screening process when somebody calls? Are you able to ask a few questions over the phone that might help you determine whether it's an item that you could use, or do you just kind of have to put eyeballs on it and really evaluate it that way?
We probably ask one too many questions, to be perfectly honest. Some people may get frustrated, but the front desk tries to do a very good job of pre-screening items because we don't want to waste the truck's time, and we also don't want to waste a customer's time. If it's clearly not something we'll be able to take, we try to give them that heads up before scheduling. So we ask typical things on if it comes from a smoking home, if there's any rips, stains, tears on it. And then we even ask, where in the home is it located? Is it in a basement? Are we going to have to take doors off to get to it? So we try to give the truck a pretty good idea of what they're going to. And we try to schedule in half-hour increments so we can pick up as much stuff as we can during the day.
Okay, well, as somebody who might want to donate, yeah, I guess I might find that a little bit annoying that you're asking me so many questions. I'm trying to give you something here, for crying out loud. But as a customer, it's got to be reassuring to your customers because I assume they probably know that. If they don't know it, the minute they walk in, they pick up on it. But customers, it's reassuring for them, I would imagine, to know that you've gone to, that much effort to make sure that what they're buying is something worth owning.
Yeah, with the furniture, it's typically pretty obvious. We smell cushions, we look under cushions, and we try to check for those things. Occasionally, we get things dropped off with us, though, after hours. And a lot of times we'll do our best to either just price it really affordably, put it out for free, do whatever we can to get rid of it without having to take it to the dump. But with our appliances, we actually go through each and every appliance. We test them, we clean them, we repair them if they need to be, and then we warranty them as well.
Wow. Who's in charge of all that?
Mainly my husband.
Okay. All right. Got him doing the heavy lifting on that. I like that. Missoula Real Estate Today is presented by Diane Beck of Windermere Real Estate. Our guest, Laci Rathbun, owner of Donation Warehouse here in Missoula. We'll get to the location, the hours, and all of that stuff toward the end of the show, I promise you. Laci, how do you find people who want to donate items? And by that I mean, is that word of mouth, or is there some kind of recruitment networking involved that lets more people know that should they have an item that they'd like to donate? First off, it goes to a very good cause, but how have you built up a network of donors?
So it's a little bit of both. We have a great referral system with our customers and our donors who appreciate what we do. But we also have a number of local businesses that refer people to us. For example, the living room, whenever they have somebody purchasing new furniture, if they don't know what to do with their old furniture, they will give them our phone number. Sometimes they are even able to bring it by and drop it at our store. Wagner's also refers people to us, and Fred's Appliance will take people's old appliances, and then we pick up used appliances from Fred's.
And how did you establish those relationships? Is that something you had to knock on the front door and talk to the owner or the managers about?
Yeah, my husband and my dad were very good when we very first started about going to each of these different businesses who we could establish a relationship with. And when we started, Vans was actually still in business. And so we took over discharging refrigerators for them. They had to have someone on staff full-time who was licensed and trained to discharge the Freon from refrigerators. And they did not want to have to do that anymore. So we started taking that on, and we would take all of their old customer appliance pickups for them. And when Vans closed, a lot of their staff ended up at Fred's, and the manager there knew about us and really appreciated what we did for the community and saw that there were so many appliances that would potentially just go either to the dump or to be recycled that were repairable or good. And so Fred's has always been a really great proponent for us to help keep more used appliances in circulation.
And you are on a real estate show presented by a specific realtor, Diane Beck of Windermere, but I'm sure Diane would not mind you talking about. You also have established relationships with a number of realtors, right? I mean, as far as maybe homeowners who are moving, doing whatever. But that has come in. That's been very beneficial as well. Yes.
Absolutely. We've talked at staff meetings for a number of the different real estate agents in town, and we get a number of referrals from them, particularly when they have a client selling a house and needs to move some furniture or appliances out, and also when they have new homeowners that are buying and maybe they need a new washer and dryer or they had a couch that was left there. And so we get referrals for both donating and shopping, which is really great.
I assume, do you have a lot of regular customers? This is one of those stores that, bargain hunters would get a kick out of by virtue of its quickly changing inventory.
We definitely do. We have everyone from people who are just looking for a $5 bed frame just to get them by because they're a college student, to we have people outfitting antiques into a really hip Airbnb downtown. And so we get a wide variety of customers. And then we also have people travel from quite a distance to come because particularly used appliances are hard to find. So we have other stores. We have a lot of property managers and real estate agents who will travel from Salmon and far down the Bitterroot, things like that, because we have really affordable prices and we have typically a good inventory of things to choose from.
Laci Rathbun, owner of Donation Warehouse, here on Missoula Real Estate Today, presented by Diane Beck of Windermere. Laci, let's get to the heart of your mission. Donation Warehouse raises money to fund child abuse prevention. More specifically, how is that done? Who does the money go to? How is it distributed? What kinds of services is that money earmarked for?
Absolutely. So the Parenting Place offers a number of services. They offer parenting classes. They offer free short-term childcare for families. They even do in-home aid for families. And they have a number of different programs that they're working on. So every single item that comes into our store is donated to the Parenting Place, which makes items tax deductible for donors. So we're able to hand out donation receipts. And then we are simply a third party. We're essentially a consignment store. So everything we take in is the Parenting Place's inventory, and we pick it up, clean it, repair it, do whatever we have to do to make it saleable, and then we split the profit with them. Each month we bring in anywhere from $8,000 to $10,000 for them. Our highest months we've brought in $14,000 in 1 month for the Parenting Place, and the funding from Donation Warehouse accounts for almost 50% of the Parenting Place's annual budget.
And what other resources do they offer that made you realize, and maybe this is second generation too, because you talked about your dad being involved in this, but what resources do they offer that made you realize this was a good fit for what you wanted Donation Warehouse to be?
Well, I really think that the Parenting Place is wonderful because they are trying to destigmatize the need for parenting help, that you don't have to be low income. You don't have to come from an abusive relationship to need help with your kids. I'm a parent of two, and I have used the Parenting Place's services. I have called them when my son was tantruming and needed somebody to talk to with ideas on how to handle it. And so I really appreciate that they are able to serve a number of different people in the community and hopefully get people in there to say, hey, it's okay if you need a break. It's okay if you don't know how to handle a tantrum. And I think that they're just able to do a lot of good in the community that way.
As far as their abilities, how did they do? Do you feel like it was obviously you felt like it was a very beneficial meeting for you to reach out to them to help you with issues that you were having with your child?
Yeah, I actually even took a parenting class from them before I was pregnant. My parents and my husband, we all did. And so I think they gave me some really good foundational tools to know what to expect and to give me some different tools to handle my kids because I understand it can be frustrating and it can be tough having young kids in your home. And I think their respite care program is really wonderful and unique because it allows parents from 4 to 7 p.m. to bring their kids in. Their kids are fed a nutritious dinner. They're played with. They get great one-on-one attention. And the parents can spend that time taking a parenting class or taking a nap or going grocery shopping. And there's no big restriction on it. And so I think it's really great that they offer that.
I'm glad you brought all that up because I certainly did not, and I'm sure a lot of listeners did not realize what a multifaceted resource they can be. But let's get to the other side of things, and you can answer this statistically, opinion, whatever you want. But how big a problem is child abuse and neglect in Missoula or Western Montana? If you could maybe define it, who are the people who reach out for that kind of help at the parenting place?
Sure. Well, I think I think again there's a stigma that parents that need help sometimes are low income or they're a different socioeconomic class or there's mental health or drug abuse. And I think all of those things are true. But I also think that sometimes it's parents like me who are busy and stressed out, and we just need some other tools in our toolkit on how to work with our kids or a way to de-stress and how to handle them. And so I think they offer that for everyone. But child abuse prevention is super important in Missoula. I also volunteer for CASA, which is Court-Appointed Special Advocates, and they have a number of cases right now with no advocate on it because there is such a high instance of abuse and neglect in our community. And so there's a number of kids that need someone advocating for them. And there's a number of parents that need these tools and resources who are working to reunite with their kids or keep their kids in their home.
Kids without a voice. That's hard to even fathom, I think, sometimes for a lot of people.
It is. And as a mom myself, I know how important it is that my kids are given food, safety, shelter, all of those things. And other kids are striving to get even just those basic needs met.
Right. And, we did a fundraiser awareness event for a division of Missoula youth homes a few months ago. And it was the one, and I don't know exactly what they call it. Maybe you do, but it was for the kids who really aren't quite kids anymore, age-wise. That transitional age, whether 15, 16, 17 there, where, well, you're too old to be here now, but so we're trying to establish a place because you're not ready to go. You're 16 or 17. You're not going out in the real world yet,
right?
But it's just unfortunate you fall into that category, and so it was nice to be a part of that. But I think that's probably under the umbrella of all the things you're describing here this morning.
Yeah, and if we could have given those kids or their parents tools earlier on when they were infants or preschoolers or starting school, maybe some things would have been different for them and they would have had even just a slightly easier road before entering either the foster care system or transitioning out of it.
This is Missoula Real Estate Today, presented by Diane Beck of Windermere Real Estate and our guest, Laci Rathbun, owner of Donation Warehouse here in Missoula, which benefits the parenting place. And you've been able, I'd like you to just bring this up again, and you talked about, you've been able to provide them some pretty substantial funding since you started here. I think you mentioned typically $8,000 to $10,000 a month is a pretty good month, or?
Yeah, that's pretty standard for us. The last couple of years, we're following between $100,000 and $120,000 each year that we're able to raise for the parenting place, just with furniture and appliances that we sell in our store.
Did that surprise you? Did you go into this venture and you went, holy smokes, we did it? Or did you think, man, I don't know if anybody's going to come in and buy a used washing machine, and then we're only going to be able to bring the parenting place a few bucks? But you got to be proud of it. But did anything surprise you there about how it flourished so quickly?
I am eternally surprised that there is that much furniture and appliances in Missoula. And I wonder what was happening to it 10 years ago. Was it all going to the dump? I mean, I have no idea. When we first started, we were able to raise, I think, $400 the first month. And both my husband and I had other jobs, and we did this part-time in order to keep our health insurance and some stability. And it really has grown so rapidly that 9 years ago, we started with about 1,500 square feet in the same building we're in.
Uh-huh.
And we both did it part-time. We were only open by appointment. And very quickly, we realized that there was a huge need of people wanting to donate these items who were not able to move them, didn't have a truck. And then there was a huge need for people to be able to purchase these items affordably, that not everyone was able to afford antique prices. They just needed a bed to get them by or a washer to clean their clothes. I mean, very simple things, but they were hard to find 9 years ago.
And you said the store now is about 9,000 square feet. You were able to expand because other businesses moved out, or how were you able to inflate the space there so much?
Somehow things have just worked out in our favor.
Okay.
Nothing nefarious has ever happened. We loved all of our previous neighbors. But somehow it just always worked out that we would have a neighbor move out right as we were going, man, we're really cramped in this 1,500 square feet. And so we would knock a hole in a wall and take over the space next door. And then we did the same thing 2 more times. So we've taken over a total of 4 spaces in the building that we're in. And we just keep knocking holes in walls and reconfiguring how we can fit it all. And now we've even expanded to, we have, I think, 4 shipping containers behind the store where we can store stuff when we have huge influxes of donations. So in the spring, when real estate really starts to soar and houses sell and college students move, we fill our shipping containers with stuff. And then those college students come back in August and it looks like we're going out of business because they buy things so quickly.
Man, you people in your shipping containers, I'm going to mention this too, referencing my guest from last week. But first, I want to say a special thanks to some of Diane Beck's marketing partners that helped bring you Missoula Real Estate Today. Rob Fleming with Man Mortgage, Miles Link of Opportunity Bank of Montana, and Carol Blodgett of MakeItMissoula.com. Our guest, Laci Rathbun with Donation Warehouse. Last week, Laci, our guest was Casey Valencia, and she's the executive director of Missoula Urban Demonstration Project. One of their main services to members is their tool library. Members can check out what tools they need, and she was wishing someone would donate a floor sander. A lot of people want to use a floor sander, and they don't have one. Are there, are there items items that Donation Warehouse could use a lot more of because they're big sellers?
Stackable washers and dryers are huge,
Okay.
and they're a big need because a lot of people just do not have room for the side-by-sides. Our appliances in general sell really quickly, and we get a great source of them from Fred's and from a lot of donors in town, but we can always use more. And then depending on the time of year, right before Thanksgiving, as we're coming into November, dining tables are huge. A lot of people seem to not buy those until they get closer to Thanksgiving. And then we have a run on dining tables and stoves in November. So some of it's cyclical. Some of it goes with the seasons.
Yeah.
We can always use dressers. We can always use nightstands. We can always use appliances for sure. And sometimes we have to say no to some of those things that are good. We've learned that electric organs don't sell very well anymore. We also learned that entertainment centers that only fit the smaller size TVs are very hard to sell as well.
Yeah.
So there's some stuff now that we've learned our lesson on. Older TVs don't sell, things like that. So they may be good items. Unfortunately, if we can't find homes for them, we try to leave them with people.
Let's continue on that. A quick review, doesn't have to be a quick review, a review of items that you do and do not accept at Donation Warehouse.
For the most part, any furniture and appliances.
Yeah.
We even do take mattresses, although we are very, very picky on them. But we'll even take some home decor, lamps. We have artwork hanging in the store. We can't necessarily send the truck out just to pick up a toaster or just a lamp. But if we're picking up your whole living room, we'll take the artwork that goes in it. We'll take the lamps. We'll take the coffee table, all of the things. So we try to take as much as we can.
And items that you just are not looking to sell, items that you just can't accept or don't feel you should accept.
So the other thrift stores do such a great job with clothing, toys, kids and baby items. And we have a really great list in our store of kind of what the different secondhand stores take and accept for donations. And so we try to refer as many people to those stores as we can.
And you mentioned you do have the one big truck and that you're very busy. If someone were to call and say, I would like to make these donations to Donation Warehouse, what is a typical turnaround time? Once you determine that, because you've done some work on the phone, a little bit of screening and whatnot, what is a typical turnaround time? If somebody says, I have these, I want to donate, when can you tell them to expect us?
We typically recommend planning at least a week in advance.
Good, okay.
Depending on the time of year, sometimes we're able to accommodate more last-minute pickups. But for the most part, if you're really flexible and you say, hey, I'll put the washer and dryer outside of my garage today, we'll try to swing by and get it tomorrow for you. But if you're only available Mondays at 9 a.m., give us a week's notice and we'll try to fit you in.
Donation Warehouse. Let's talk about location, your hours, website, all of that stuff. Where do we find you?
So we are at 1804 North Avenue West. We are just on the other side of the railroad tracks from Northwest Energy and Conlins.
Uh-huh.
And you can always look at our inventory on our website, which is donationwarehouse.net. We don't list every single item we have, but we have an Instagram account where we post nothing but items in the store. And that also syncs to our website if you don't have Instagram. And that's a really great way to kind of get a feel for some new items and just even the variety of items we have in the store.
What kind of hours do you keep?
We are open Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. till 5:30 p.m. and Saturdays from 10 to 3.
All right. That's pretty flexible. And any long-term goals or visions, anywhere you would like to see Donation Warehouse go? Does the latest next-door neighbor have to go out of business so you can knock another hole in the wall, or are you out of holes in the wall? What would you like to do with this business?
There is one more space in our building, and a very wonderful church rents that space.
Okay.
So we do not want them to move anytime soon. But in the long term, we would like a little bit more room to expand to, hopefully in a building that we would own ourselves, though. And that would really be great, especially if we could design something so that the flow of traffic was better for donors who are dropping off and customers who are picking up things. I think there's some good opportunity there for us to design our own space.
Gotcha. Any other success stories? Anything that you've found recently that you've done that you've found particularly gratifying? I guess that's in reference to the parenting place.
Even the customers we deal with, it's always really rewarding when we can put out a bedroom set for a child that maybe it's a dresser, a headboard and footboard, the nightstands, all of it, which brand new would have been thousands of dollars. Mm-hmm. And we're able to sell it to a family that would never be able to afford that otherwise. So it's really rewarding to be able to secure great items for people and items that they need at prices that they can afford.
And by the way, folks, if you do go to the Donation Warehouse, it's donationwarehouse.org, right?
.net.
.net, excuse me.
Yep.
Donationwarehouse.net.
Yes.
Okay. Folks, if you do go to that, the inventory is on the website. I think, Laci, I didn't get a lot of time to spend on it, but you see a pretty good-sized color photo of the items that you got on the floor right now. You can click on that item, brief descriptor, price, and all of that stuff, right?
Yeah, and we always tell people if you see something you want, give us a call. We'll hold on to it for a few hours for you because the inventory does change very quickly. All
right. Laci Rathbun, co-owner with her husband of Donation Warehouse here in Missoula. Give us that address one more time on North Avenue.
1804 North Avenue West.
You've been a great guest. I'm glad you came into Missoula Real Estate today.
Thank you for having me.
This is Riley Corcoran, the voice of the Grizz, with Diane Beck of Windermere Real Estate. Diane, tell us, how long have you been in the real estate business?
Riley, I've been selling real estate now for 25 years. I grew up in the Flathead Valley, moved down to Missoula in the early 80s, and raised my family here. Been here ever since. Love real estate and love the Grizz.
Make sure you contact Diane at 360-7654 of Windermere Real Estate, one of the official realtors of the Grizz.
Thank you for listening to Missoula Real Estate Today. If you have any suggested topics for any future Missoula Real Estate Today programs or any questions about buying or selling, contact Diane Beck with Windermere Real Estate. Email dianebeck@realtor.com or visit her website, homesinmissoula.com. That's homesinmissoula.com. We'll see you next time on Missoula Real Estate Today.